Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. Just gonna run through some charts here and a couple strikes before the bell. Just to see where we're at here on a Friday. And I'm gonna say it a couple times here this morning, but I'm gonna start by saying it here out the gate, y'all. Remember that it is Friday. We had some solid economic data drops this week. Don't ruin your weekend on a Friday morning, right? Y'all hear me say this every Friday. And honestly, I still do it myself sometimes, so it is a reminder also to myself. Take it easy here on a Friday. Keep those positions small. And as always, protect that mental peace. But alright, y'all, let's go ahead and just take a quick look here through some of our indices. We'll look at some strikes, and if we have some time, we'll quickly crank through some individual names. So ES off of some data here this morning as well, making a nice little run back up to 4,400 right here. A very key psychological level for us here on ES, especially here in the recent days. Right, and we have the daily mean here, this solid tan or cream colored line coming right up near this 4390 but close to this 4400. So overall, liking this little zone here right up against this key psychological level of 4400. So definitely keeping an eye on this. I can see here that we have a little squeeze popping up, kind of small. But we have a 1 hour squeeze popping up here right around this 4,400. So something definitely to keep an eye on here. You know, as I always say, just looking for a good level to put on some risk, right? I'm always looking for levels to risk against. And 4,400 is of course a good one. So we're making a run up to it here. Gonna be patient here at open, right? What I want to see at open is for big money to make a decision of what side of 4,400 they want to be on. Right, especially after this little spillover yesterday, we could have a little bullish run here on a Friday. Maybe they let it fly. You know, we got through some economic data. Honestly, all of it wasn't that bad. But they've made some room to play here, right? Likely they reloaded here. We had a nice H this morning. They reloaded again here pre-market. Let's see if we get a nice run up here and hold this W, right? We go from a lowercase h, a bearish flag, right? We hold the bottom of the H, right? Didn't quite get there, but holding overall the bottom of the H, and H becomes a W. So let's see if we can hold this W and go higher, right? Ultimately looking to crack this 4,400. And we have a couple good levels of support here. Of course, this teal or cyan solid stair-stepping line here is the daily 8 exponential moving average. And again, we have the daily mean right here, the daily 21 exponential moving average. And this is the weekly right here in the dashed tan, right? This is the weekly mean. Same color, different time frame. But all right, gonna move on here to NQ, right? So again, just, you know, real quick, looking to get either above 4,400 or reject it, right? I'm going to be patient here and wait for big money to decide what side they want to be on of this 4,400. NQ here. Oh, actually, let me go back to ES, sorry, and throw my levels on it. Always need to see what the spaghetti says here as well. And here, I actually did want to note this. We now have had 3 days of where the high this week is right around this 4420. Right, Tuesday we got up to here in session, rejected it, didn't come back. Wednesday came up here, tried it again, didn't quite get through in session, but did it in the after hours and pre-market. And then again here yesterday, got back under it, tested it back inside the live session, right, and then rejected it again. So ultimately, if we do get above this 4,400, my immediate target is this 4,420. It is a Friday. Let's see if we smash it and come back and test this 4,430 from pre-market yesterday morning. Definitely something to keep an eye on here. We still have point of control way below as well. This does kind of concern me, right? Ultimately looking maybe for a trip back to point of control, but let's see if we can hold up long enough and point of control actually moves up to meet with price action. Ideally, that's what we're looking for. So NQ, right, pretty much the same setup as we expect here from the indices. Nice hold at this daily 8, right? Again here in this teal or cyan color, stair-stepping line. Perfect H right here. Held this base pretty much to the cent and are now getting, once again, that W, right? But instead of the daily mean this time, right, NQ is doing a little bit better here than ES. We're trying to hold this daily 50, which is this gold stair-stepping line. So again, just kind of use kind of the same method, right? I don't have a massive psychological level here for NQ like ES, right? Of course, all of these hundreds and 50s are good psychological levels. But overall, if I'm looking for a level to risk against for NQ here this morning, I really like this daily 50, right? So again, if we can hold above this daily 50, looking for some longs, right? Looking for some upside. And if we start to crack under this daily 50, looking for some shorts from here, right? And again, you know, we do have the daily mean right here, so any downside could be short-lived, right? NQ has been overall pretty damn strong. You know, I'm going to have much tighter expectations for a downside move than maybe an upside move where they might just let it fly. So something to keep in mind, right? If we do play some shorts this morning, I have, you know, much smaller expectations out of those shorts. Ruddy also taking this hammering yesterday, and again, right back down to this weekly squeeze bottom, right? I know we've looked at this weekly squeeze bottom like a million times here on Ruddy so far. Still holding up though, continues to be a good target to the downside. Nothing crazy here on Ruddy, right? Got up to the mean, rejected it. Ruddy always kind of taking the beating here between our 4 major indices. But something to keep an eye on, right? Always does help drag around ES just a bit. And then for our other big one here, YM. YM, not a bad recovery here, along with the market, you know, has been taking a little more damage than NQ, right? And then compared to ES as well, of course. Riding this third Keltner down here for quite some time, but getting back up here to the mean, right? Not looking as good as NQ, which is above the mean and fighting with that daily 50. But overall, we got some good targets here for YM. You know, making a good run on this daily 21, right? This daily mean. So again, let's see if YM can either get above this daily mean this morning, and this key psychological level of 34,000, and start to put in some good long moves, right? Ultimately, as well here on YM, we have the daily 200 above, right? The daily 200 is a big one here for banks and other major institutions. So definitely something to keep an eye on, right? If we can get above this daily 21 exponential moving average, we might make a good run ultimately on this daily 200 simple moving average, right? Obviously, we have quite a few points here in between these two, so it doesn't mean it's going to happen today. But if we can get above this daily mean in our following sessions, our target is going to be this daily 200. But all right, we got about 5 minutes here. I'm going to just quickly look at SPY and QQQ and some contracts over there. But of course, the same setup, right? QQQ is NQ. So again, just looking to hold this daily 50, right? This is going to pop up right around the same level somewhere right here. And so just looking to either stay above this daily 50 and play longs, or crack under this daily 50 and play some shorts to this daily mean, and then again have to reassess here for direction, right? Could be a nice bounce at this daily mean, which could line up right here with this 365 key psychological level, right? Some good support right here. Also liking here on QQQ, this daily Ichimoku cloud. Really nice flat shelf here. Oof, for quite a few days too. Towards the end of the month here. And a nice thin cloud as well. So it should be easy to get through and should be able to turn this daily Ichimoku cloud into support. Really love that. Alright, let's look at some contracts real quick. For today, let's see here. Looks like we got a couple puts here of higher value at Beast. 367, 365. Gonna hop over here to my Beast screen. Let me see here. Throw up my screen here that I execute on. Anyway, all right, so QQQ set to open up here right near 370. So as y'all know, I always pick about 2 or 3 points up and down, and we have this 367 here at Beast. I'm just gonna do this 368, a little bit higher in value, right? Something they're likely to defend more. 368 put, and I'll throw up like the 372 call. Let's see. Ooh, and a really nice bounce here at Beast yesterday near the close. I like that. But also this 368 put some nice price action off of our Beast zone as well. So definitely some good strikes to watch here. And let's jump over to SPY real quick. Jump over here to SPY. And SPY set to open here at about 435. So I like that for sure. Come back over here, check out these contracts here for SPY. 435, making it easy for us. Oh, we got a lot of calls here lighting up at Beast. A couple puts here lighting up at Beast as well. These seem to be higher in value, but gonna keep it light here. Just gonna watch, really like the volume over here as well on this 437 call. And something like this 433 put. Right, we are gapping up here a little bit, right? We're about to open at 435. We closed at about 433 and some change. So we're going to see here, right? These calls are going to get some immediate value out of them, and not surprised, right? This 437 call closed at Beast. Kind of gave you the hint here off of our Beast tool what was going to be the move early on. Sorry, y'all. We got less than a minute here, about 30 seconds. Make sure I got my screens right. Make sure y'all got your water, your coffee, whatever it is. And let's get this party started. Alright, y'all. So, like we were talking about, right? Coming up to this 4,400 immediately and giving it a little crack here on ES. Ooh, nice little push higher. All the calls coming through. Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. All right, so we got some targets above, right? Exactly what we were just talking about here on our major indices. ES cracking this 4,400, YM real close to this 34,000 key psych level, and ooh, what do we have up here on YM? Our destination sell zone, the absolute top of our beast tool, right? And stacked in there, we have the daily mean. Could be a mean level here to reject at. So let's see what we get here. Tick is open. Tick open here at about positive 1,000. Right, to anyone here that is new to predicted trades, new to us, right? Always looking for this initial test of 0 here on tick. And that reaction, right? I want to see on what side of 0 we start to print candles. So let's see. For right now, though, up here at this positive 1,000, if we don't get this initial test of 0 soon, want to see what the prints up here, high up near 1,000, continue to look like, right? If we continue to just punch price action up here above this 600, we should continue to get a nice little upside move here. All right, we got VIX open here as well. Opening right here near the top of our open range sell zone. And let's see where ADD's at. A little hard to see here, but it'll be easier to see as we start getting some candles printing. ADD sitting flat here though, at a solid positive 1,200 or so. And alright y'all, as usual, we're getting some rotation here out the gate, right? A little bit of a stall and a little bit of a red candle here on NQ, and YM getting a nice pop out the gate, right? We've been talking about this every single day. So as always, gonna be patient here, right? I'm gonna say it again. Don't ruin your weekend here on a Friday morning. Let's be nice and patient. Let these things unfold, right? YM up to 34,000 here. Let's see if we start to get a little bit of a rollover. Right, this rollover would get tick down to 0, which is what we're looking for here early in the session as well. Gonna look over to the strikes here that I called out before the open. See how we're doing. And as expected, right, as I just said, getting a little bit of an increase in value out the gate here on these calls. Q's kind of lagging a little bit here though with this premium on these calls. Right, made a nice run up here as well. Calls kind of sitting though where they closed, but a nice move here out the gate on the calls for SPY. Driven, of course, by YM, right? We see that boost in YM here early. Looking over to our puts though, ooh, our puts opened right inside of our main beast zone here on our beast tool. Right, really love to see that. As you guys know, I'm always stressing this open level, right, which is this thick white dash line, and then our main beast zone down here, right? And just looking at both QQQ and SPY, the strikes that I called out before open, both of them opening right in our main beast zone. So really love to see that. Let's see if we start to get some downside here and this market starts to roll over a little bit. Right, you heard me calling for some upside here before the market opened, but of course, you know, we're gonna get some manipulation first, right? So wouldn't be surprised if we do get a nice wicked pullback and then maybe a nice slow grind higher for a good portion of the session here into the afternoon or so. And it would be a great spot to reject here as well, right? We're right at 4,400, or right at 34,000 on YM and the daily mean. And again, you know, if we do throw down on some puts right here, I'm expecting the move to be short-lived, right? We kept popping yesterday, had a nice run up. We looked at that H before the bell, right? And the buyers definitely identified where they're at. So gotta be careful here on the downside. But I am pretty suspect that we will get some downside here soon. But again, no idea, right? Just going to be patient and keep collecting some data here early into the session. Hey, los cabrones. Welcome, brother. Second day here. Let's hope we have a good session, man. A ver si nos va bien, huh? We'll see, we'll see. But alright, y'all, QQQ coming down here to our open range buy zone, getting that little bit of a pullback here in Qs. Let's check out what this put is looking like. I know a little hard to see through our bubbles here, but of course, as we print price action, we'll get away from these bubbles. And just a reminder here to anyone who is new and you're not really sure what you're looking at here, just a reminder that all these levels here on these option contracts were generated here at open, right? So later in the day when we come back and look at these charts and we're like, oh my god, the price action hit all these zones perfectly, they probably put these levels here after. Right? Remember what you're looking at here now. All these levels on all these option contracts and the equity, right, are here already and they are static. They will not move. Price action is going to come to these zones and to these levels all day. But alright, y'all, still getting some rotation here, right? NQ coming down to VWAP and coming down to our open range buy zone as YM continues to pump here after cracking 34,000 and that daily mean. Right, nice little look for YM here, but again, still kind of suspect of YM just cracking through these two levels and through the zone, no problem. Right, a little bit higher here on YM at about 34,100, we have the high of week. Right, again, just looking for some levels here where we could start to get some resistance and maybe a rollover. And a little bit higher above that high of week, we have a 4-hour squeeze top. So some good targets here to the upside for YM. VIX holding up here near the top of our open range zone, right up here at our open range sell zone, and just below 17, right? 17 definitely a big psychological level here for VIX. Let's see the reaction we get here if we come up and test it. And of course here with our rotation between NQ and YM, right, we ultimately have ES just parked here at a key psychological level. Right, and what did I say before the open? I'm just waiting to see what side of 4,400 big money decides to be on. We're only up about 20 points on the day here, right at 4,400 on ES, so we got plenty left in the gas tank, both to the upside and of course to the downside. NQ with a really nice bounce here at VWAP. And YM still going higher, so let's see ES getting a little bit of love and going a little bit higher with this bounce in NQ, and YM continuing, right up to this high of a week on YM. Let's keep a close eye on this level right here. Starting to crack it now. Nice little move from YM. But again, y'all, it is Friday, right? We got 0 days across the board. They're definitely gonna mess with us, right? They know that a ton of retail traders come in with the mentality on a Friday of, I need to make up my whole week, right? I didn't do well this week. Let me try to swing for a home run here on a Friday. And that's how they get us, right? Really ruin your weekend on a Friday. So let's continue to be patient here and continue to let these contracts just prove themselves, right? Again, I was hyped here about seeing these puts with the open level inside of our B zone. We're definitely taking some damage right now on these puts. So happy that I'm not in them just yet, right? They could still be in play, but we're gonna have to move here a little bit closer now, right? So this 433 put falling a little bit under our zone, getting a little bit cheaper, gonna just bump up one closer. This 434 put, or ultimately even that 435 put, is ideally what I would like to play. And of course, I am here playing for small accounts, right? I'm trying to keep my contract small, something that everyone can play. But if you can afford it, always get closer, right? Always get closer if you can afford it, right? This 435 put coming down and tapping our B zone here to the cent before catching a little bounce. This is a really nice contract right here if we get this rollover, right? But I'm gonna stick with this 434 here for now, just a little bit cheaper for our small accounts here in the server. And we got to be careful here with this rotation, right? NQ looks like it's weaker, so it's kind of enticing to play this QQQ put, right? Maybe over SPY because YM is stronger. But again, we're getting some rotation right now. So we could ultimately get some rotation back, right? NQ has been overall the stronger name here in the past couple of weeks, right? Jump back over here to my prep screen. And just looking here to the Keltners, right? NQ has had a much better look here than ES and YM, right? I'm gonna hop over to like YM real quick. And YM has a ton of price actions riding down this third Keltner channel, right? NQ leveled off here and got back above the mean. YM is fighting still here right at the mean. And again, at a good level here for YM to reject could start to be some upside for NQ. But again, not really going anywhere here on ES, so I'm not super confident about either direction. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer, right? I want to see tick here hit 0, see what the reaction is, right? We start to bounce here at 0 on tick and hold price action above 0. Then I'm going to be more interested in calls, right? And more interested in longs. And at this point in time, right, both sides looking really good. Looking to this 372 call on QQQ that I called out here before the open, came down, had a little dip initially, but came back up to hold that open level, right? Always stressing this open level. If they defend this open level, likely they will keep defending this contract and take it higher. But we're also seeing a similar setup here on the put side, right? So it's hard to really gauge exactly what's going to happen here next. So since I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen here next, I'm just going to keep waiting a little bit longer, right? We're getting now this initial test of 0, right? Let's see on what side of 0 here they start to print price action. Looking over to VIX here as well, right? VIX completely sideways here, just under 17, but looking like she's slowly trickling higher, right? And then a similar effect over here on ADD. ADD just right underneath its open level, right? And holding within our open range zone right here. So again, just like I'm looking to see what side of zero starts to print price action, I'm trying to see on what side of this open range buy zone ADD is printing price action, right? What side of this open level ADD continues to print price action. Just like 4400 on ES, right? I'm looking to play a move away from this 4400. Whether it's up or down, I'm not entirely sure yet. And that's okay, right? It's been about 15 minutes here. Got all day to trade. Don't need to jump into anything just yet. Right, if anything, what I would like to see is a move away from 4400, come back to retest it, and then we jump in for a continuation on that side, right? Kind of like how we're getting here, right? A little crack above, come back to 4400, and let's see if we can hold it, right? But we got to be careful here, right? Could see some rotation and just some more chop this morning, right? What did the session yesterday look like? Terrible at open, right? Didn't go anywhere at open. But then we got that nice flush midday, right? Had plenty of time to work your way into it. And then bam, that baby rolled over for a really nice move to the downside, right? So again, don't need to waste your firepower here early in the session on chop, right? On rotation, when a bigger move will likely come later in the session. So still just keeping an eye on all of these strikes here. Again, really liking these puts here. See what the move we gotten so far here on this 368 put. Oh, look like we already printed a double here on this 368 put. Came down, tapped the bottom of our B zone here at about 35 cents or so. Got up, printed a double, came back down. Oh man, look, we gotten two doubles out of this 368 put so far. Love that. So already, right, these puts kind of identifying themselves as probably some good contracts here, right? We're probably going to get some downside here. Let's see if we get another little bounce here at VWAP, right? Maybe stay under this open level on QQQ, and maybe we hop into some puts here. And again, this is tricky, right? We're getting some rotation here, right? I'm tempted to jump into QQQ puts, right? But if we start to roll over, but let's say it's YM and we get that rotation back, right? That QQQ put might not really move. Maybe the smarter position is a SPY put, even though right now the QQQ put is making a little bit better of price action. But as I was really preaching yesterday, right, it's hard to know what is the correct answer here, right? So it's not really worth stressing out, oh, am I in the right contract? Am I on the right side? Whatever, it just takes up a lot of your mental gas tank to really worry about being correct or not, right? And that is our biggest downfall here on the market, right? Caring about whether you're right or wrong. Who cares? Right? Just take a shot where you should take a shot and just kind of hope for the best from there. Can't really do much more here on the market. Starting to get a nice little bounce here on Qs. Let's see. Can't crack through this open level. I like that. YM holding up here, but still stalling at this high of week. Getting a nice bounce here though, from tick, at 0 to hold it positive. ADD going a little bit deeper in our open range buy zone. And VIX still holding up. Man, YM trying to go a little bit higher here though. I kind of like where we're at though. I'm going to take a little shot here on this 368 put. I'm going to buy 2 here at about 45 cents. 46 cents. And again, I'm going to repeat myself here like a million times. I have no idea if this is going to work, right? We have some rotation here. It's hard to gauge which one is going to be a stronger move to the downside if we get downside, right? It could be YM on the rotation back, and then either NQ pops or NQ just holds up, but then YM rolls over and drags ES down, right? That would have made SPY the better candidate for the short. But again, I have no idea if that's going to happen. Overall, right now, NQ is looking a little bit weaker than YM. So for all we know, NQ could just continue with its trend right now and be the one to roll over. Hard to ever know that, right? So I'm not going to waste my mental gas tank on trying to figure that out because there is no figuring that out, right? It's just waiting to see what unfolds. And again, I'm just taking a shot where I know I should take a shot, right? Again, I have this open level inside of our B zone, right? This green highlighted zone is our primary buying zone. And then we have the open level in there. So I really like this setup right here. Arizona Bay, I'm in this strike right here that I have the mouse over, the 368 put on QQQ, expiring today. I'm in here at 46 cents. We're currently up at 52 cents. I have 2 contracts, and you can see that I'm up about 12 bucks right here, or 10 bucks. But anyway, right, so again, no idea if this is going to work, but I'm just taking my shot where I should take my shot, right? I know I have good support on this put right here. I know I have good resistance on the equity right here, right? I can't ask for much more than that to take a shot here on the market. And again, it's Friday, right? We have 0 days across the board today. My position size is small. I just have 2 contracts right now, right? If this goes to 0, I'm not going to cry about it. It's not going to ruin my weekend if I lose here $92, right? I'm not going to let this go to 0, but I am mentally prepared for that, right? So if I'm not going to cry here at a loss of 92 bucks, I'm not going to cry at a loss of like 50% of about, 45 bucks or whatever, 50 bucks. Back over here to our indices, YM still holding up right at this high of week. But as we start to chop it up here, right, I'm feeling better about the rollover on YM the more we struggle with this high of week. And the same here on NQ, right? We're having trouble getting out of our open range sell zone here. Right, and to anyone who's new to us here at Predicted Trades, again, our open level is this thick white dashed line, and then symmetrically up and down is our open range zone, right? The green one is our open range buy zone, red one is our open range sell zone. And just a reminder, even though they're called buy zone and sell zone, it doesn't mean they don't turn into support or resistance if you are outside of it, right? If we come up through the sell zone and then come back and retest it, it turns into support, right? We will then look for a bounce at this zone. So, all right, still just sitting here at my entry on this 368 put, right? I continue to be confident that this is a good place of entry, right? I, again, still don't know if this is going to work, but I know I have a good entry. And I'm always looking to the other side for information, right? Still have my calls up, and these calls are still holding their open level, right? So again, the call side is still looking good here, right? I know I'm in puts, but I'm still hyper aware of the other side, right? And we're getting a little bounce here. So especially here in these opening 30 minutes, right? Y'all know I'm always very picky and very patient about my entries here, especially in these first 30 minutes or so. But in case we do get a nice little move, I just want to have some exposure. But again, not so much exposure that I'm going to be super upset if this rolls over and dies, right? And so here we go, we're getting a little bit of rotation back to NQ, right? YM isn't dying here, but NQ is starting to get a little bit of a pop. Tick coming back over though, and coming back down to 0. Let's see here. Oh, and good call. We have consumer sentiment coming out here at 10 a.m. in about 3 minutes. Could give us a little move here. And so again, right, I'm fully prepared for an upside move. I'm not going to be upset when this goes down 50% or something, right? I know that is a very strong possibility. Oh, and let's see here, getting a little bit of a pullback across the board. VIX with a little pop up here, still trying to get through 17. Drop a little price level right there. And tick a little H here back to 0 and a little crack under it, but still holding positive overall. So again, just like yesterday morning, right? Some tough price action here at open, right? They know what they're doing, right? They know that retail traders like you and I show up here at market open, right? We got a little bit of money ready to take a shot on stuff. And what happens, right? A lot of retail traders empty out all of their buying power in the first 30 minutes, in the first hour or so. Right, when the market goes nowhere and you just end up really frustrated, right? Plenty of retail traders have already ruined their weekend in these first 30 minutes. And we haven't even gone anywhere, right? Big money knows this. You know, they study market psychology and human psychology here on the market. They know exactly what they're doing. And so here with our beast tool, right, we try to fight that human psychology, right? We try to be robots here at predicted trades with our entries, with our exits, and how we hold, right? So here on this put, right, you know, we're getting little bounces, we're crossing over my entry back and forth, back and forth. But if you're not looking at an option chart, right, or maybe you don't have our beast tool just yet, you're going to be stressed looking at like your phone and looking at your P&L go green and red and green and red and green and red, right? And if we get like a repeat of yesterday, you're just going to keep seeing green and red through the like middle of the session, right? And then boom, they make a move. but they make that move after they've shaken everyone out through that green and red and green and red. But alright, y'all, we're getting a move here, and as y'all know, and if you hear me trade here or watch me trade frequently, I'm trying to use this first contract here to defend my second contract, right? I want to pay for a good portion of my second contract with my first contract. And I probably should have let that first one go here, but let's see. I'm going to throw up an order. And again, my entry was about 46 cents, pretty much right at this open level. So I would love to get something here near a buck out of my first contract, right? A double is kind of a heavy ask. But if I can get something here near this 80 cents, right, I would have loved it actually trimmed right here, but it was kind of quick. But I'm going to throw an order out there here near the top. I'll call it 76 cents. So again, I'm going to get, if we can, came right back up and engulfed that dip, damn. But if we can get up here and sell our first contract here at about this 76 cents, right, I'm making 30 cents on 46 cents. That's a pretty solid percentage there of my contract, right? So if I can sell one contract up here, it's going to cover most of my second contract, right? And what I'm really looking for here is peace of mind, right? I'm trying to protect my mental peace. I'm trying to conserve my daily mental gas tank, right? We all have a limited mental gas tank for everything in our lives, whether it be the market, whether it be your significant other, your boss at work, whatever, right? And unfortunately, as day traders, we empty out a good amount of our gas tank right here. So trying to conserve that gas tank, right? I try to get out of a contract here to try and cover most of the other contract. That will then allow me to be riskier with that second contract, right? It is easier to take a contract from 46 cents to like a $1.90 or a $1.50 if that contract is paid for, right? But if you're still risking your entire position, right, trying to swing for a home run every single time, you're probably going to get burned on the way to that 1.9 or 1.5 or whatever it is from 46 cents or 50 cents or whatever. So again, just looking for peace of mind here, right? Trying to live and trying to trade stress-free, and this is a great strategy in doing it. And of course, I'm just sitting here on 2 contracts, right? The idea is that you have 4 contracts, 10 contracts, right? You make the move, you sell 5 out the gate and cover most of the position, right? You have 5 left. You start to trim one at each beast level we give you here on the way up, right? If we have 10 contracts here at about 50 cents, we're looking at a $500 position, right? If you can trim 5 of those contracts here near 80 cents, 90 cents, or a buck, you're going to get about $200 back or so, and you start covering a lot of the position, right? You go a little bit higher, you trim another contract at a $1.20, right? Down to 4 contracts or so. You trim another contract at a $1.90. By the time you get up here, your entire position is paid for, and you still have a couple contracts that you can just let fly. But alright, back to current price action here. A solid little dip, ES almost down to VWAP and catching that bounce, NQ down to our open range buy zone and caught a nice little bounce. Got to be careful here, right? What I'm really looking at for sure bouncing are these calls. This call just bounced to the cent here at our B zone. I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit more. A little bit hard to see, but the bottom of this candle is to the cent on our upper beast level, right? Also here, stacking is our open range buy zone on this call. So I gotta be really careful here, right? The downside is starting to look pretty appetizing here in this dip, but they just respected here our buy zone on the calls, right? So I'm going to keep an eye on this. But for right now, put's not looking too shabby. And like I was saying earlier, NQ was looking like the better choice here for downside because of price action. But then bam, look at SPY right here, right? When they all dipped together, right, we got a small T move here to the downside. SPY ultimately got more juice, right? And the low on this 434 put, is 46 cents, right? Pretty much our entry here on this QQQ put, but look at the move, right? Almost to a buck. Got to this open level of about 92 cents, right? A nice double right there. And we didn't quite get the double here on Qs just yet. And Q's starting to hold here a little bit at this open range buy zone. Have to be careful here. Starting to dip down a little bit more. Let's see if we get our take profit tagged right here. But again, right, not getting tunnel vision and just getting excited about the put popping up, right? I'm looking over here to the call to see if again we're gonna stop here at this open range buy zone. Right, if we hold this buy zone, I'm going to be ready to empty out my puts and maybe switch over to the call side, which is ultimately what we were talking about here pre-market, right? That they might let it fly to the upside. And we were saying that our move to the downside could be more limited. Hey, and we got our first target tapped. Oh, and we're getting a nice little move here. All right. So again, right, got in at about 46 cents, just sold at, what was it, 76 cents, I think. So now I have most of my remaining contract covered, right? I can definitely take some damage below my entry here and still be green on the position, right? Immediately some stress just relieves off my shoulders, right? I can carry this trade farther now with less stress, right? And now we're getting a little bit of a pullback, but again, locked in some profit, right? I'm good here, and I can now wait a little bit longer if they're gonna reload and then again get the dip on Qs and go higher here on the puts. Man, and look at this 434 put right here. God, I don't know why it's getting me here this morning. But anyway, a nice move here out of our B zone, right? Got through that dollar up to $1.06 here on this 434 put. Yep, and that's a great point right there too from their professor here in the YouTube chat. Right, I've locked in some profit here on the put side, but just in general, I've locked in some profit. Right, I can now also get risky on the other side and hold both sides at the same time. Right, and again, we get down here, tapped this B zone, and bounced on this 372 call. Right, we got some buyers here, right? We got some buyers here. They're holding this thing up. If we get down and tap this thing again, I'm going to jump into this 372 call and hold both sides. YM back down to this key psychological level of 34,000 and getting back below our destination sell zone. Really love these destination zones here on our beast tool, right? We get up, maybe we crack through them, but usually pretty hard to stay on the outside of our beast tool, right? On the outside of our destination zones. So coming right back, and of course with that 34,000 stacked right there, made this a really tough level. And then the cherry on top, of course, we have the daily mean there, and yesterday's high, oh, and yesterday's open, right? Crazy, crazy zone right here. Getting some good cracks below zero here on tick as well. But again, just keeping an eye on this actual price action, right? Candle body still mostly on the positive side. We are trending down, but really need to make some good moves under zero here if we are to ultimately get some real downside. Which again, to the thesis we were speaking to this morning before open, I only expect limited downside here, right? The mean is right here at about 43.85 on ES. We're down to VWAP here as well. NQ has that daily 50. We have some good support here, pretty close to us on all of the indices, right? YM here at this 5-minute 21, and then we have VWAP below. Man, but nice little rocket ship here from VIX. Cracking above that 17, up to 17.5. Oof. And alright, this 368 put making a nice little move here again, getting back up. But like I was saying, this call down to our beast zone, right? Let's see if I can hop in here near the bottom. No, don't run from me. I'll take one here on the call side at 38 cents. Definitely willing to average down here with this little hedge deep in this beast zone, right? If we get back to this low of day, I will pick up a second one. So alright y'all, I'm in a put and I'm in a call. I have one contract left on this 368 put and I'm sitting green on it a couple bucks. Right, and I'm in this 372 call here on QQQ, sitting just a little bit below my entry. This is going to be my hedge here for the downside. I will look to buy another one down here near this 30 cents. But I'm not going to put an order out there, right? If we do get a hard push down, right, I don't want another one. But if we come down here again and hold here above this 369 again, right, then I will buy another one. But in case we get another fat red candle to the downside, right, I don't want to just have an order out to buy another hedge. Because right now we are currently dropping, right? And again, I don't want to stand in the way of a freight train, right? This downside will just run us down if we have orders out here on the call side, right? And we're overall still giving a downside look here, right? YM going a little bit lower, ES going a little bit lower, and Q trying to hold, right? And again, NQ being overall the stronger index. Looking at days of price action. I know I was this morning saying, oh, NQ looking weaker, right? And it totally was. But overall, in the grand scheme, NQ has been the stronger index, as I was showing on those daily charts earlier. So again, not surprised to see the overall manipulation coming from YM, right? It had the strong pop, it had the strong drop. And Q just kind of holding on and doing its thing. And man, look at this SPY put go. Right? Regrets not being in this one, right? Major regret not picking up the SPY put, but again, all good. We're getting a little bit of juice here out of our QQQ put. Again, just printed a tiny low of day here, so I'm not going to jump into another hedge just yet. But overall, Q's holding up. Could be a good level for a bounce on all the indices. And Q's holding. Oh, maybe I will jump into another QQQ call here. But hey, at least we're getting a little bit more action here than yesterday morning. I know yesterday morning was absolutely terrible. Getting some nice little moves here this morning though. So again, right, I'm looking here for a bounce though. ES down to this daily mean, YM down to VWAP here, and then a previous point of control here as well, and NQ down to this daily 50. I'm going to hop into another call here on the Q side, right? And this time, definitely want the call side to be with Qs, holding up the best, right? All right, so I'm in 2 contracts here now of this 372 call at about 36 cents. So again, back to all of the things I am constantly talking about, right? I'm getting into a position here at a great level, right? I know that this is a good spot to put on some risk, right? The call itself is at our B zone. Stacked there is our open range buy zone. This is a good combined zone of support on this contract, right? At the same time, ES is down to the daily mean here at 43.85. Right, doesn't mean we won't go a little bit deeper here, right, and prepare for that, but we're at a good general area for a bounce. And Q continues to try to hold up here at our open range buy zone. And of course, we have the daily 50 right here. Right, so again, another good little zone here for a bounce. YM down to VWAP, little crack under it, right, but that's okay. Could still be a nice little spot here for a bounce. VIX is kind of getting close to 18. Could get up and tap it, and then maybe we get that rejection. Ooh, an ADD getting down to our B zone. And yesterday's open here, this little bit bold but smaller white dash line. I know it's a little hard to see, but we're there. And so again, right here, right, ES going a little bit deeper, YM as well, but NQ trying to hold up. So I'm feeling good about the calls here on QQQ, right? Better about the puts on SPY, but still okay here, still green on my put here on QQQ. As we continue to stall here, right, I might ultimately cut this and take my profits on this 368 put and see if my call will then make the move. I'm going to give it here another maybe few candles to see if we continue to hold here. But if we do ultimately keep dropping, well then I will cut these calls and just let this put continue to work. But if we do start to bounce, right, I'm going to start losing some profit on this put, but that's okay because I then have the call side to make up for it. And hopefully we get an actual nice long run out of these calls to the upside. This 437 call here on SPY also down to Beast and catching a nice little bounce at it. And so again, have to be patient here, right? We're not going to just get a straight V and a bounce, right? This might be a slow little base here at the mean and then a pop. So again, I'm not going to sit here and stress about, oh, I'm a few bucks red. Oh, what should I do? I'm not going to do anything, right? I'm just going to leave this alone for a while. Start to see if we start to base here in our B zone on this call. And then I will think about maybe buying more, maybe bailing out if it starts to drop here really hard. But for right now, we're holding up here right at this level, right? And the longer we hold here, the more confident I am that this was a great level for an entry, right? Doesn't mean I won't be wrong here in 20 minutes and we drop. But again, all you can ask for is a great level for an entry, right? Just looking for a good spot to put on some risk. And I have identified one here with this daily mean, with this daily 50, right? We got VWAPs thrown in here as well. So now I just got to be patient and let it unfold. Oof, and pulling back here a little bit more, going a little deeper on this call here to the downside, but Q's ultimately holding here still, right? Again, I don't want to get shaken out from this just tapping another low of day when Q's here are holding. Right, SPY here is holding. But the puts are also holding, right? So I'm just not going to, stress this just yet. Again, I got a little profit from my put already, right? I can take a little bit of heat here on this call. Oh, and we're starting to drop. All right, gonna bail out of these calls here. Gonna bail out of these calls. See if we get a little pop here. Still holding up, right? Still holding up. I'm ready to cut these calls, but still just holding here. Let's go back and look at these indices here. YM holding up though. ES still catching a little bit of a bounce. And Q now being the lagger here. But still holding above this daily 50. So you know what? I'm going to keep holding here a little bit longer, right? Again, I'm in a small position here, so I'm not too stressed out about losing cash here. Right, I got very limited downside to some exponentially great upside. Let's just keep holding this hedge here. Nice bounce back to positive here on tick. Little rejection in VIX, but we do have the dollar still sitting here at highs. Definitely a tough spot here for the market, so again, just have to be patient, right? Just got to let this interaction with the mean unfold, right, and see what they decide. But again, we are getting exactly what we talked about here pre-market. Right? I said, hey, we could have a nice run up here on a Friday, but not going to come without a little manipulation first. Right? I said we could have a little bit of a pullback to the mean and to the daily 50 on Qs before getting that bounce. And we haven't gotten exactly that so far. Now, do we get the bounce is the question. But for right now, they are holding these levels that we targeted. But Q's going a little bit deeper here. All right, gonna cut these calls here. Right at low of day. Again, still got the put here going higher, right? Still got the put here going higher. So still okay. Right? And I can always re-enter these calls. Right? I'm not going to be surprised at all right here if this bounces right back. Again, we're at some great levels for a bounce, but that doesn't mean I'm just going to keep praying and hoping here under the daily 50. But again, SPY holding up here really nicely. YM also trying to hold here pretty good. And again, this is tough price action, right? If this is hard for you to follow along, right, don't be, hard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up, right? This is difficult. Again, this is all about human psychology, and they know exactly what they're doing here, right? They know exactly what we're looking at. They know exactly what we're thinking, and they are front running our thoughts at all times. Still really liking these calls though. Really like this 437 call here holding at Beast. And Q really taking us for a ride here this morning though. Right, and bounce right back up. But not going to stress it, right? I can always re-enter calls whenever I want. And I'm continuing to feel pretty good here about this base that we're building. Right, we could see some upside here pretty soon. Still crossing over 0 here on tick, right? Kind of hard to make a decision on direction here while we're just chopping through 0. Yep, and Q's coming right back up to where we were at, right? I was sitting pretty here still at about 26 cents a few minutes ago. But that's this game, right? That's this game. Got to conserve capital over being risky, right? Can always re-enter. I know that's tough for some of us with a cash account and a small account, right? Re-entering is kind of a pain because you use up your firepower. But you have to treat it the same, right? Or else it's going to continue to be one way from your bank account to your trading account, right? We're trying to make the moves from our trading account to our bank account. And continuing to be risky here and not conserving capital is the wrong way about or going about it, right? I think I'm going to take a shot here on this 437 call on SPY, right? I just want to have some exposure here to the upside as we continue to form a little base here, right? Tried it on Qs, wasn't too happy about it, right? Even though it should be the stronger index. Just going to take another shot here on the calls on SPY. Let me get 2, right? I always want to have at least 2. Right, one to protect the other. And again, I'm going to do the same thing, right? Ultimately, don't know which way we're going to go. If we roll over and die, I don't care that I took 2 bad shots on the calls, right? We're at a spot where this could totally bounce. And I just want to have some exposure in case we do get that bounce. And again, it's a small position, right? I'm not going to ruin my weekend here on a Friday. And also, I'm still sitting on some profit from the put, right? I'm still green on the day, even with this little loss here on the call side, and even if I'm a little bit red here currently in my new call position. Still green on the day, and I'm giving myself the opportunity to make even more, right? And again, Q's with a little bit of a low of day print. To anyone here watching along with me, if you are new to predicted trades, right, if you're new to us, you can totally join our Discord for free in the link provided in the description of this video. As soon as you join, there is a ton of resources in there for free on learning how to trade options, learning how to trade futures, just trading in general, right? We talk a lot about market psychology, as I have here this morning, right? We have some really nice channels on that, tons of videos, you know, just some great content for you to maybe chew through on a weekend or, you know, after market hours. So definitely check us out. Again, that link is in the description of this video. And also, every single Thursday here at Predicted Trades, we do a free day. Every Thursday is a free Thursday where we provide a link for you to use in your Thinkorswim, and you can see our beast levels and our proprietary beast tool directly on your charts, right? All these levels here on my options contracts are provided by that beast tool. And anyone that is new to us that's maybe more of an advanced options trader probably haven't seen many other services looking at options charts, or even less, right, maybe giving you levels on an option chart. So if this is new to you as well and you are interested in learning more, please jump into our server. We talk about this every single day. Starting to get a nice pop here in SPY, right? Getting a little bit above my entry here, green a couple bucks, right? I'm still green on my put as well here on QQQ. Let's see what this bounce is looking like, and it's YM bouncing here and pulling up ES, and Q continuing to be weak here. So you know what? Overall happy that I'm out of the calls here on Qs for right now. And I hop into some SPY calls because, again, we're getting some rotation here an hour into the session. Ugh, these mother effers, right? But again, being led here on the bounce by YM, dragging up ES a little bit, and NQ kind of lagging. If we start to pop really nicely here on SPY, I'm going to cut my QQQ put, right, because it's going to drag QQQ a little bit as well, even if it is trying to lag. But I'm losing profit here on my put, right? And again, the more time we spend here trying to hold this base that we're forming at these levels we're talking about, right, the more confident I am in an overall bounce. You know what, I'm just going to go for it now, actually. I'm going to cut my put, take the couple bucks I have left on it. If it lets me. Come on, baby. Get me out of here. Collected a little bit of profit here I had. And we're going in on these SPY calls. So again, now my main position here is this 437 call on SPY. Again, I bought it at the same B zone, right? I'm just trying to buy in this green highlighted zone all the time. And we're up a couple bucks, right? Nothing crazy so far, But again, you know, I'm leaning on the thesis I produced before the open, right? My thesis was we're going to pull back a little bit to this daily mean, right? To this daily 50 on NQ, right? To this 34,000 on YM, right? Got a little bit through it, of course. But let's see if we start to put in a nice bounce. ADD putting in a nice little bounce here so far. Tick as well, getting back above that 0, up near positive 600. And I've locked in a little more profits, right? Again, I have no idea if we're going to actually bounce from here, right? Already getting a nice little pullback here at VWAP. But again, I have a little bit more wiggle room here now this morning on this position because I've locked some pretty good profits here from this 368 put. So again, I'm just trying to manage my account as a whole, right? I've locked in some profits here on the put side. We're at some good levels for a bounce here on our equities, right? On our futures. So now I can tolerate a little bit more of a drawback as we start to actually, hopefully, form a bounce here at these levels that we talked about. But as always, right, I'm going to keep saying this until I die, right? I have no idea if this is going to work. And that is one of the most important things that you can really tell yourself as you're day trading, right? The more you can keep in the front of your mind that you don't have to be correct, right? And chances are you're going to be wrong, right? It happens to us all the time. I was just wrong over here. I was wrong yesterday as well. But ultimately, we still lock in that profit and protect our capital, right? Yesterday, I was in some puts. I think I was in them at 40 cents, right? I ended up bailing out of them at about 20 cents. And then later in the day, they went to over $2 a piece. And that sucks, right? That's annoying, but that's this game. You know, I have no FOMO about it. I didn't cry about it later in the afternoon when it unfolded. I just had to play what was in front of me at the time, right? And preserve my capital so that I could live to fight another day. Having a little pullback here, coming back to the mean, but as long as we stay above the mean and we keep holding this daily 50 here on NQ, I'm feeling pretty good. Good enough that I think I'm going to buy a third contract here on this 437 call. All right. So I'm in 3 of those calls now, right? So again, looking to just implement my usual strategy. Right? I again have identified a good level for an entry. And I'm just looking to trim on my way up, right? So my entry here is about 32 cents, right? 32 cents right here. So I'm looking to lock one up here, let's say at this open level, right? Open levels here is at about 52 cents. You know what? I'm going to throw out an order right at 50 cents. Typically I like, to do like 49 cents because sometimes they're assholes and will get like real close to it but not fill you. But since the open level is 52 cents, I'll take 50 cents. That's cool. So again, I'm looking to offload a contract up here to then cover another one of my contracts, right? Then I will have 2 contracts left. Right, and then I'll look to trim a second one probably up here at our open range sell zone. 80 cents, right? That's over a double if we get it from that 30 cents. which means my third contract will be completely paid for by that time, right? It could go to zero and I would be green on the individual position, and of course still green on the day from my other contracts. And again, they're coming down here, making us sweat a little bit, but we're still here at our major moving averages, right? We're still holding these levels that I'm interested in. But of course, right, cannot tunnel vision on that, right? Also have to look at the overall trend here, right? We sold off here this morning from the open, had a little bounce, got up to this 5-minute 21, a typical place where a trend continues, and we got exactly that, right? A little rejection right at that 5-minute 21, and we go and print a new low of day. So have to be careful here, right? And we're still giving a downside look, and I'm in calls and I no longer have a hedge. Right, regrets, of course, but I have no idea, right? No idea how this is going to play out. Can't live with regrets here on the market. Just got to take shots and just go for it. But still overall, right, still here at our B zone, still holding our open range buy zone, getting little bounces here in Qs and SPY. And like I said, right, it wasn't going to be a straight V if we do get the bounce here, right? There's going to be some games here. You know, exactly the thesis that I'm talking about, they know that ton of retail traders are thinking the same thing. We get to the daily 50, oh, we'll likely bounce, right? We get to the daily 21, we'll likely bounce. And ultimately, this can be true, right? Ultimately, probably is going to be true. But they're going to try to shake out as many of us as possible before ripping upside, right? Or just like yesterday, you know, they just chopped and shook people out until the middle of the session, and then it was the elevator down, right? But by then, they had likely shaken out a ton of people who were positioned short, right? You give those people enough bounces, and they can no longer tolerate the stress. Right? And we get this bounce all the way back up. Not stressed about it, not worried about it, right? I know that this is what big money does. Especially to day traders here, right? We're always here worried about this next candle. Ooh, an ADD right to our beast level here to the cent. Oh, sexy. Definitely a great spot here for ADD to bounce. Let's see if it actually happens. And again, not too far off from 18 here on VIX. Also gets us to the top of our beast tool here on VIX. Could be a good little spot to roll over and get some upside in the market, right? VIX gets some downside, market gets some upside, typically. So again, some nice little bounces here. Oh, even getting a nice little bounce out of NQ and YM now lagging a little bit. Still getting a little bit of rotation. So just going to continue to hold on here a little bit longer, right? And again, I'm fully prepared to cut these calls if I have to. I'm not going to cry about it. Because so far I have done my job this morning. And my job here is to protect my peace. right? My mental peace, my peace of mind. I have locked profits and I have some wiggle room to make these calls work. And ultimately, it can be frustrating, right? To, for example, make some profits, right? And then maybe you have to bail out of some positions later and you end up like flat on the day, right? Or just a little red. You know, many of us will see that as a failure or as a loss, but in reality, you know, it can sometimes be easy to make money on the market. It's not so easy to keep that money, right? So any day that you maybe make some profit and you end up losing it later, but you respect your rules and only take a small cut on the day or end up flat on the day, should be seen as a victory ultimately, especially if you are a newer trader. Starting to give a little bit more of a downside look here. SPY coming down to low of day. Let's go back over here to our major moving averages. Right, and we got this open level here on ES, right? Again, could be another nice little level to bounce at. But again, I don't want to just keep being like, oh, we're going to bounce here, or we're going to bounce here, or we're going to bounce here, right? Eventually, just have to give up on the opposing direction, right? I want calls to work now because I'm in calls, but if we just keep trickling lower and then retest this 5-minute 21 again, and then trickle lower and then retest the 5-minute 21 again, right? These calls are not going to work. So I don't want this to go too much lower from here, right? I might tolerate this open level, but I'm definitely not going to tolerate anything below that. But again, getting a nice little bounce here, just trying to hold at these levels. Now, I would definitely highly recommend, and I've been meaning to do this myself, but I always just get caught up here trading dailies. But it is also highly, highly advised to play the next day's contracts, right? All of these contracts for the next day are going to be able to resist much more drawback, right? Much more drawback here. And again, we're here at 18 cents from about 32 cents, so I might have to cut these calls here, right? I don't want to take too much damage. I'm definitely chewing through my profits from the put side. But again, we could get a decent bounce right at the zone, right? And it happened to me yesterday. You know, I'm not going to think about that too hard, but had to jump out of some puts early in the morning, continued to bounce in the morning, but then roll over and died, and those puts flew. VIX starting to peak here through 18, right? And like the professor just said in the YouTube chat, 18 is a very, very significant level here for VIX. And, you know, stacking right on our destination sell zone could get a rollover here on VIX and a nice bounce in the market. But as always, the question is when, right? When. Especially playing same day contracts, the most important question is when, right? I'm down to about 50% here. Down on these calls. So definitely going to be looking to cut around here, right? We're pretty low here. Some of you might say, well, fuck it, it's just 16 cents. But I got 3 of these, right? About 45 bucks here. This is how you take an account to zero about not caring about 15 cents. Starting to crack under that open level, so I'm going to go ahead and cut these, right? I really don't want to because, again, I feel like we're going to get a rollover here. But can't just keep taking pain here. ADD right at our B zone as well. Right, and this is what makes trading tough, you know. At these critical points in the market, the reversal looks really good, but then if the reversal just never comes, you know, you just end up taking damage all the way through. So gonna hop out of these calls, unfortunately. And again, can always re-enter, right? But don't want to just keep trying this, right? Obviously the trend here is to the downside so far this morning, so I'm not going to just keep fighting this trend, right? The puts are obviously what's paying, and damn, look at this 368 put we were in here earlier, getting up to $1.20. That's okay, right? You know, continue to do the job this morning, right? Taking shots at the correct levels, right? And just waiting to see if you're right or wrong. Easily could have been correct here, right? We started to make a nice little bounce, but ultimately rolled over. But again, just following all of my rules and protecting my peace, right? The entire time I said I was hyper aware that this could be coming. So again, you know, especially just saying it out loud, just reminding yourself of what is to come as opposed to just what you want is going to help you better exit a losing position, right? It's going to help you better analyze what could come next. Oh man, regret selling that 368 put. Really nice move here. But again, you know, continue to be in all the right places, right? Know I'm looking at the right contracts. Know I'm looking at the right levels here to put on risk. And just allowing things to unfold. Ah, man, really nice short here. SPY now cracking under its daily mean. And we're down to the daily 50 here on QQQ. If you are in puts, definitely trim your puts here. Definitely trim your puts into momentum. Up to 18.5 here on VIX, right? Definitely showing some strength here to the downside, right? No buyers inside here. Down to this daily 8 here on NQ, and also down to our destination buy zone. So again, could see a reversal here, right? Let's move up in these call contracts. Gonna move up to this 370 call on QQQ. Man, even going through beast on that 370 call. Up to the 435 call on SPY. This 435 call down to beast. Right at it though. Let's see if it cracks below. Oof, and right up almost to this buck 9 here on this 368 put. Nice move here. Nice move. We've got the mean on NQ here a little bit lower. Could ultimately be a target here for NQ. And again, just always looking to the other side to gauge how far this move is going to go, right? So again, pulled up the SPY 435 call for today, which has just arrived at Beast, right? This could be a level that we start to bounce. But again, already tried 2 bounces this morning, were not successful, so I have to be extra picky here going against the trend. We still have a lot of session left, right? We still have the second half of the session here, so easily could bounce here and then run all the way back up to high of day. Right, those Q puts went in the money, right? Should have just held on to those suckers. But that's trading, unfortunately, you know. But again, like, really just want to stress the power of our system here, right? We see this every single day. Every single day we see this, right? Off of our zones, off of this open level, you hold, you hold, you hold, and you get a move, right? Again, you know, tough to gauge sometimes what side it's going to be on. But as you continue to play our system, right, you just kind of drop your little seeds here wherever they should be dropped, and eventually, right, you get some nice moves here. This market has definitely been tough here, though, these past couple weeks in this slower downside. And especially at the opens, right? The opens have been a lot of rotation. You know, it is definitely tough to trade these opens here in these last couple of weeks. And so again, that's why I continue to stress, you know, not trying to be worried about being correct, right? Honestly, so many traders are wrong more often than not, but because they manage their accounts correctly, right? They manage their positions correctly, the fewer wins end up being bigger, right? You can really let these winners run when positioned correctly, and you cut your losers quickly. And we see it all the time here, you know, day to day, right? We've had a nice, strong, and, you know, especially in a few minutes, kind of a quick move to the downside, right? We still have a lot of day left. Would not be surprised at all if they come right back up and engulf this entire morning. And then end the day right where we started, right? And we're starting to put in a little tiny base here, right where this 435 call stalled right at our beast zone, right? Again, a reminder, this beast zone has been here for days. Price action has come down to meet this zone, and we're stalling right at it. And SPY coming down again here to this low of day. All right, let's see if we can continue to stall here or if we're going to start punching a little bit lower. Going a tiny bit lower here on SPY. Q's trying to starting to try to hold up a little bit here. Let's see what YM looks like. YM now leading to the downside a little bit. Tick coming back down to low of day. ADD a little bit lower here. VIX a little bit higher. So again, y'all, ultimately trying to see if we get a little bounce here, not necessarily a reversal, but if we do continue this trend to the downside, right, we're going to likely come up and retest this 5-minute 21 as it continues to trickle lower with us, right? Or VWAP as well. So again, I don't want to get in the way of this train right here to the downside, but we're going to ultimately get a pop here somewhere, and we are here now at these squeeze bottoms. We have a 4-hour squeeze bottom right here, and a 1-hour squeeze bottom right here, right below this daily 8 here on ES. So again, just ultimately looking here for the target of when we might get a bounce. And that bounce would give us a good entry to then continue lower if that is the trend for the day. Always just looking for that lowercase h to be produced here in the downside, right? Once we get that lowercase h, we can start to hop in either to the downside, right? Or if you believe in the bounce, you can start to put in some calls or some longs in that lowercase h to hopefully turn into a W or a V and then go higher. But alright, I'm going to wrap up my session here. I know a little bit of a tough morning. Really wanted those calls to work out. But we made a little bit of money on the puts, and ultimately I ended my day pretty flat, right? Should have just held the puts, but can never actually know, right? No idea. The upside was looking good here for a little bit, especially at those levels we talked about, right? The mean is just such a typical place to get a reversal. Didn't get it, right? Didn't get it, but that's okay. I did my job where I'm supposed to do my job. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But as always, I was hyper aware of every scenario as it was happening, right? I was not surprised by this. I was not emotionally attached to my calls. I did not just keep averaging down, right? And eventually you just have to let go. But all right, y'all, I'm gonna head on out of here. Again, looking for this H, right? The H will give you the entry to either direction, but allow the H to happen, right? Don't chase puts here, don't chase shorts, because then you're gonna eat that H, right? Let the H happen, and then start to see how that H plays out, right? Inside of the lowercase h, you can start to take your position to either flush the bottom of the H and continue lower, or to then pop, maybe put in a W or a V and go higher, right? VIX is getting up here towards 19. Again, gonna give us a break in price action, right? We will probably start to stall and do another one of these right here, right? And then a decision will be made to either go higher or go lower. But again, the key points of entry are when they stop and start to have to make a new decision. But all right, y'all, I hope everyone enjoyed the session here this morning. Hope we all stayed safe, kept our position sizes small. Continue to keep your sizes small, right? It is a Friday, got 0 days across the board. And as I always say, right, don't ruin your weekend here on a Friday, right? And as always, we'll be in on Sunday to do a little prep. It'll probably be earlier in the day, but I will see you all there, all right? Hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Again, you can join Predicted Trades, right? You can join our Discord here for free with the link in the description of this video. And again, you know, we provide tons of resources here for free that are available to you immediately upon joining, all right? All right, y'all, have a great day, and I will catch y'all later. See you Sunday for prep, all right? See ya.